Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everybody. We're going to get this going. We got a new versus stream tonight. It was originally going to be Naruto versus Yusuke Urameshi, but unfortunately that versus stream did not generate enough interest. So I went back to the drawing board, asked a couple of people on previous live streams what would be their ideal live or versus stream, and Kamen Rider came up with Chun Li versus Black Widow. So that is the one we are doing tonight, folks. We got Marvel's Russian Assassin versus Thunder Thighs of Street Fighter, Chun Li. And we got 3 panelists in the backstage right now, plus a 4th coming in later on when he is able. And the first one I will be introducing, ladies first, as per usual. You know her, you love her. It is Jane Theory.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing tonight? Can't wait to get started.
All right, good to see you. Give your channel a plug.
You can find me at Jane Theory on YouTube, where I do movie and television reviews primarily, occasionally some entertainment commentary, and I'm also on Twitter at Jane Theory.
Awesome. And the next one is another regular. I have appeared on his channel before, and we always like to talk movies and whatnot. So everybody give it up for the ambassador.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see y'all. Great to work with my 2 good friends up here, Orange Hat Reviews and Jane Theory. And I'm ready to dig into this one. So quick plug on my channel. I obviously am the ambassador. You can find me on YouTube under that name. You can find me on Twitter. I am also starting an Instagram profile. You can find me at just simply the ambassador on Instagram. So Orange, thank you for being here. Jane, it's a pleasure to work with you once again. So as I say, let's get this party started.
All right. And the next one, he has joined in a couple of my versus streams. He's got a channel of his own, and he actually does some pretty good stuff. So here we go. It is the Chad.
How you doing, everyone? Last but never least, the Chad is in the house. And yes, the rumors are true. He is great. Okay, so just gonna give my channels a few plug. Right now, you can find me most often on S-Mule, where you can listen to my vocals. That's where I'm spending a lot of my time these days. But I'm looking to return to YouTube in the next week or 2, because just got some inspiration on some new reviews that I can upload. But you can find me on The Chat is Great on YouTube and under the Spoony Bard on S-Mule.
Alrighty. Now we got Mike from Crack Skull Media or Geek in Skies. He's going to be dropping in. He is a little late, but he will drop in. So when he does, we're going to give him a chance to plug his stuff, and then we'll get right back into it. So yeah, the previous one that was supposed to be tonight was Naruto versus Yusuke Urameshi. And like I said, it wasn't generating enough hype. So I was asking for suggestions on a previous live stream, and they said, or Kamen Rider, normal or regular on my daytime live streams, asked, what about Chun Li versus Black Widow? And I'm like, son of a gun. That might actually sound good. Now, to give a little bit of what I know on Black Widow, she actually does have a serum that was given to her similar to that of Steve Rogers, who is Captain America. She is long-lived. In some of the comics, she is basically as old, if not older, than Captain America himself. She's very skilled in martial arts. She's not an easy person to fight. Even though she is still human, she is enhanced because of the super soldier serum. And we will be giving her widow bite, or her widow stingers, the things that are on her wrists, because Chun Li, she can actually control energy to sort of, it's not quote unquote an energy blast, but she can actually use energy and expel it. So we are going to let them have a little bit of range weaponry as well. Now, for those of you who don't know who Chun Li is, well, if you don't play Street Fighter, she's the woman with the incredibly thick thunder thighs and the hair buns that are semi like, well, not really like Princess Leia at all, more like Padme from episode 3. But she's definitely unforgettable once you see her and see this kind of stuff she can do. She could throw a lot of kicks. It's one of her trademark moves. Also the spinning bird kick as well. She's not an easy one to beat either. And when I saw her in the animated movie where she kicked the crap out of Vega, and well, Vega also kicked the crap out of her, but still, she put him through a wall of an apartment building. So that's not just drywall, but that's also brick and mortar. So
and dropped them
she's
about
got
10
some
stories
strength
onto the
behind her.
street.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's a tough battle, in my opinion, but we're going to start things off. So, Jane, who are you rooting for in this one?
I have to root for Natasha in this one. I think one of the things I was thinking about that you brought up was the age and experience advantage. If you add that to her sort of stealth ability, her ability to fight, and if you are leaving her little gadget thingies, I think she has an advantage here.
Potentially. All right. Chad?
I am rooting for Chun Li. Basically, in all the anime versions I've ever seen, Chun Li is very toned down from the video game. A lot of the fighters are, but looking at her movesets in the game, her lightning kick, yes, the fireball, the ability to bounce off walls, her key manipulation or energy manipulation, and what she channels both into the lightning kick and into the ability to send fireballs. I think Chun-Li has the advantage in both speed and strength. And so even if Black Widow were to get into grappling range, I think the fact that Chun-Li is just that much stronger and able to dispel ki, Black Widow would be even at more of a disadvantage grappling than she would striking or from a distance. So I'd have to give it to Chun-Li.
And Ambassador?
I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna side with Jane on this one. I'm gonna have to side with Romanoff, because if you consider not just her skill set, but if you consider all of the various adversaries that she's had to go up against, both when she was a semi-villain or anti-hero and just a straight-up hero, she has faced off against some pretty formidable foes. I mean, even if you're just looking at her from the comic book angle, but if you look at her also from the MCU angle, she's gone up against some tall orders, and by and large, she's either held her own or she's kicked some serious ass. So I'm going to have to side with, I'm gonna have to be rooting for Team Romanoff here, Black Widow.
All right. So when Geek in Disguise comes in, we're gonna take his wager. He should be coming in within the next minute or up to 15 minutes. He might be 15 to 30 minutes late, which we started. Well, we also started late, so. But
Not by
yes,
much.
yeah, indeed, she has fought some pretty tall. She has fought some pretty tall orders. I mean, she even fought some of Thanos' Cull Obsidian, the Black Order. She went up against Proxima Midnight. She actually did or put one into whatchamacallit's name, Corvus Glaive. And if you've seen Endgame, I'm not really sure of the stuff that she's done in the comics, but she's still a very talented fighter. She's a very skilled assassin. She's got stealth on her side. And she also is very quick-witted. She can come up or she can easily adapt to a situation once she gets a feel of the fighter, of her opponent. And one of the things I truly like is that even in her own limitations, she can find a way to squeeze through a victory. I mean, this woman is, I mean, if you look at Avengers, the first one, she came up with, or she found a way to get to the Tesseract basically by hitching a ride on the Chitaris. And it's like, I already got a ride. So she is truly a strong female, as all these people are craving the strong females. It's like, you got one in Black Widow. And you also got the same in Chun Li. I mean, Chun Li, her character is mostly bent on vengeance because in the Street Fighter universe, her father was killed by Bison, the leader of Shadaloo. And actually in the Japanese, I believe he's either called Vega or he's called what was that boxer's name?
Balrog.
Yeah. I think he was actually
Balrog.
called Vega in the originally he was called Vega in the Japanese, but
English.
M. Bison was in the English version, he is M. Bison.
Yeah.
And so she has been trying to kill him, even though we're not talking about M. Bison in the fight, but he's in a whole nother world. We might actually put him in a versus stream later on. But
Okay.
Chun Li, like you guys said, she could do the flurry of kicks. She could do the spinning bird. She's very skilled. She can also do key manipulation and whatnot. And if she does get a hold of Black Widow, now we have seen that her character originally had very thick thighs, hence the thunder thighs statement I made earlier. But if you look at a lot of the anime and even the games, they tone down the thighs to make her less bulky, so to speak. And it's, but if you really do look at somebody with that kind or with thighs that big, it's mainly because they work them a lot. And let's just say I would not want to be kicked by this woman.
But I think that raises the question of would Black Widow be kicked? Because she would have to actually hit her, and we've seen Black Widow be able to move incredibly fast around whomever she's fighting, almost in a circular dance type move.
Now,
her background.
This is where I have to disagree, though. Black Widow, she's gone up against a lot of men who are throwing punches and trying to grab her.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting a leg fighter is an entirely different game, because basically Black Widow, her technique is to leg scissors and then use her ability to take men who are very, very top heavy, have very large builds, and use that against them to get them down to the ground. But a leg fighter is the complete opposite. You can't grapple them that way because all their weight is at the bottom and they're so grounded. So if you try to grapple them like that, you've just played right into their advantage and they are going to mess you up.
That is true.
Black Widow's tried and true technique that we've seen in the MCU would put her at a massive disadvantage against Chun-Li. And those stingers that, if Chun-Li can take key manipulation, those stingers are going to give her pause, yes. Might actually knock her back or knock her down for a moment, but they aren't going to stop her.
And yes, that is true. But we also got to take into account that the stingers are not just electric shock. She has, in the comics, they have many different uses. You got a poison stinger even. You have all sorts of different kind of tools. One is a straight up bullet and whatnot. You have tracer rounds, you have electric shock, you have things that are basically meant to incapacitate or, if need be, yes, kill. So if she does hit her with an electric one, it will give Chun-Li pause until its charge is depleted. But also, you are right. Our Black Widow is she's a judo fighter. She likes to throw her weight when she is around top heavy people. Also, if you look at how she fought in Avengers, the way that she kicks somebody, falls right back to the ground, and then just whips right back up.
Right.
That tells you that she's definitely athletic to the point where she is definitely not going to go down easy. But if she does get hit by Chun-Li, it's gonna either wind her or it's gonna give her a moment of pause. But she'll take that hit if she needs to assess how to proceed.
And she adjusts so quickly to whomever she's fighting.
Yeah, because well, and that's something I was going to bring up because you have to realize she was trained in I think they called the Red Room or whatever, and this was at the time the Soviet Union's top ranked espionage training facility, and she had been training since she was a young girl and everything, or a young woman. So the thing you have to remember is not only was she trained in hand-to-hand combat and weapons and everything, she was also trained, and obviously espionage and everything, all the techniques that they use for the spy game and everything. But that also lends to her being a very well-rounded strategist. She's going to be able to assess Chun-Li's fighting style, her technique, whatever strategy that Chun-Li might herself employ in a fight, and eventually come up with a way to either one, incapacitate her, or two, eliminate her. Because the thing you have to remember is Black Widow is first and foremost an assassin. Assassins will go in for the kill. And I think if it comes down to the point where she's like, well, all I'm doing is incapacitating her, she's going to realize I need to end this fight. I need to end it quickly. I need to end it effectively, and I need to do it where I survive. Because while she is an assassin, and she does have that mindset of, well, if I have to die for the mission, I'll die for the mission. But she does have that self-preservation instinct after she breaks away from the Soviet Union and their spy program, and she realizes, I'd rather go home at the end of the day than my life get taken or anything to achieve my goal. Now, granted, we do see in Avengers Endgame the fact that she does sacrifice her own life, but this is an extraordinary circumstance and everything, and she's doing it to spare the life of a close friend that she's worked with, who got her turned around and everything, and that being Barton, Hawkeye. So the thing you have to realize is, while Chun-Li is an incredibly well-skilled, well-trained fighter, her strategic abilities, at least to my knowledge, aren't that extensive. So yeah, she's got all of her athletic ability and everything. I'm not by any means marginalizing Chun Li's intelligence, far from it. But the thing you have to realize, you've got essentially a vindictive street fighter going up against a highly trained and very proficiently and well-trained assassin and spy. So
Yeah.
that's
Keep in mind that
that's
Chun-Li,
just one of my perspectives on this.
Mhm.
keep in mind that Chun-Li
Go ahead, Chad.
is a Interpol. So as far as strategic thinking and military tactics, she might not have the resume of Black Widow, who's worked for SHIELD and worked as a Russian assassin, but she does have that capability to her as well.
Did you say that
So
she
she's
worked for
not your-
Interpol? Did I hear you correctly, Chad?
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
she's worked her way up
Okay,
to
okay.
Interpol. So
Okay. That was something I was
and
not
her
aware of.
father, and she was taught to fight by her father, who was a career police officer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
so Black Widow doesn't quite have that much advantage as you would think, because she has had similar training, not too quite extensive, but she does have that. So how much of an advantage would Black Widow have there versus Chun-Li's more impressive physical ability? Difficult to say.
Well,
I mean, it would come down to is can Black Widow neutralize Chun-Li's speed and power? Because that's what she's got to do to win this fight.
Possibly she could.
well, yeah. Well, and Chad, I'm not by any means dismissing your point or anything, but Interpol is more of a law enforcement agency than it is an espionage and wet works body or organization. Whereas the Red Room and everything where the Red Room and everything was very much in the vein of wet work and espionage and what have you. So while Interpol might be able to give Chun-Li access to different devices and so on, and various equipment, and maybe some what's the word I want to use here? Diplomatic access. They're not particularly well known, as far as I understand it, for being able to train highly skilled and highly effective assassins and spies. So,
right, that's something that Chun-Li has done on her own through the years, first through her father and then through her own individual training. So she's had, and you look at her abilities, they would be considered not top tier superhuman, like not say Thor, but her abilities would be on par with, say, Winter Soldier or Captain America in terms of what you see in the video game. So Black Widow is dealing with someone with that kind of physical prowess. So, and we've seen that Bucky, that she lost to Bucky every time that she went up against him in the MCU. So basically, she would need to plan to neutralize those advantages if she's going to win that fight.
Yeah.
The anime.
Remember.
I forgot about the Bucky fight.
Yeah, the anime has always toned Chun-Li down because, again, they want to focus on Ryu and Ken. But if you look at the game and you look at the way her skills have progressed in the video game universe, she would be able to give Captain America or Bucky a good fight with her abilities. Again, she's not on Bison's level, but she's still a very, very tough opponent. And she got there by sheer physical training. So, yeah, to win that fight, Black Widow would have to go in there and neutralize that.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Well, the
just wonder.
thing is, go ahead, Jane.
No, I was just gonna say, as I look back at that fight, though, and even her, the fight in Civil War and all the different individuals Black Widow went up against, I get the feeling that she was holding back some, though, against them, against pretty much everyone she fought, who was on, either side of their war, because these were people who were friends or friend adjacent. I mean, she
Yeah.
wasn't trying to kill Bucky. She could have, I think, if she really wanted to.
Now,
Well,
it's been
yeah,
a while. Did they fight before she... Did she... Like, I know Winter Soldier was able to shoot her, take her down in her little story, but did they fight in Winter Soldier? Or... Yeah.
They fought in Civil War.
Only in Civil War. Okay.
When Bucky was when Bucky had his programming activated by Zemo, she had to stop him, and she got her legs around him and up top, and she started just driving elbows into his head, but it wasn't phasing him. Now, you also got to remember, in
Right.
the MCU, she's not enhanced. She's 100% human.
Yeah.
Or
So
that we
another
know of.
point.
The Black Widow movie may have actually shown us that if it ever gets released.
Yeah. We're going to basically, when it does get released, we are going to see more of her capabilities and where she came from. And I'm looking forward to that because
I am too.
I
Same here.
want to see, I'm just praying that they do Taskmaster justice.
Oh, I imagine that.
I agree.
Because I'm a fan of Taskmaster.
I don't know about that, because this is still the same Marvel that made Captain Marvel, and of course the group selfie from Endgame.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're gonna.
So yeah, it's
yeah.
I have my doubts.
Yeah. Now, has any of you guys seen the Legend of Chun Li movie with Kristen Crook?
I have
Good
not.
Lord, no.
I can honestly say I haven't.
That one
the
is
only movie that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Orange. It's fine. I was just going to say the only movie I've seen that Chun-Li was predominantly portrayed or was played a part in was the live action one with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I haven't had a chance to watch any of the anime Street Fighter movies, but I am going to get around to that because, well, I have the time at the moment.
So I have to ask this question: Did you see the Jean-Claude Van Damme version on a Tuesday?
I didn't see it on Tuesday,
Why does that make a difference?
I saw it years ago.
Oh, come on. You remember Raul Julia's basically dropping the mic on her? Poor, pitiful girl. The day that M. Bison graced your small, pathetic village was the greatest day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen that movie.
Bison just dropped the mic on her, man.
He kind of did.
Bison.
Best villain disses ever.
Oh yeah.
One of the best villains ever. Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Raul Julia was the saving grace of that movie.
I believe that was one of his last movies.
Yeah. That was his last movie. It was his absolute last. Yeah, that was his last film before he died. Yeah.
Yep. That was a tragedy.
Back to the topic at hand.
But yeah. The way I see it, and this is actually going to be a tough one to crack, because the way I see it, the only way that these two are going to cross paths, even or with the universes combined, is Black Widow basically assassinates somebody that forces her to cross paths with Chun-Li. And she's gonna use some stingers. She's gonna keep Chun-Li on the defensive at first. She's gonna she's not gonna use her stingers first. She usually resorts to that only when she needs to. So we're not going to give her guns at this point because that would just be too easy. And you also got to realize she is able to kill without hesitation. This is Widow we're talking about.
Yeah.
And while Chun-Li is an all-around good guy with the drive for vengeance, she will hold back to a degree. Widow does hold back, but she won't if she senses her opponent is skilled.
Yeah, and in this case, you're definitely she's definitely gonna pick up very quickly the fact that Chun-Li is a very skilled fighter and is a threat to her. So one possible scenario where the two of them could possibly meet is if Black Widow gets sent into a hostile foreign nation, just whatever, pick one, and she's going after a target, and for some reason Chun-Li gets sent in to said same area after same target. This could very well turn out to be a scenario much like at the midpoint of the first Avengers, where you've got basically a misunderstanding and everything between the two assassins. Well, okay, let me be more specific. Where you have Stark fighting Thor, essentially. So, but in this case, you don't have Cap to come in and calm everything down, more or less. So, the thing here is, what type of scenario are we putting these two in, or anything where they actually meet, and what type of environment could we possibly put them in to fight? Now, if it's, say, an industrial complex of some sort, anything in the spaces are kind of confined, anything, but with some areas that are more open, I would have to give the edge to Black Widow for the simple fact that Black Widow is going to be. This is going to play more to her skill set, where she's got a lot of places where she can hide, where she can observe Chun-Li and everything, where she can do hit and run attacks on her, and kind of figure out, okay, this is the environment I'm in. I figured out my opponent's skill set. I figured out her abilities. What's the best way for me to take her out? And I'm not saying that Chun-Li is going to be at a complete disadvantage or anything like that, but at the same time, if Black Widow is able to use the environment to her advantage to ascertain Chun-Li's skill set, and Black Widow is able to minimize how much Chun-Li learns about her, I'm going to have to give the edge to Black Widow.
Yeah.
So
now
it comes down to a similar idea about when Batman would fight Superman. It's the concept of he has to use the environment to his advantage. He has to use tactics, and that's what Black Widow would have to do. If Chun-Li ever caught Black Widow in like in a corner or in a small hallway, Black Widow would be down.
Yeah.
There's no way Black Widow could take a flurry from Chun-Li and not be KO'd. So Black Widow would have to keep her distance, would have to use the environment, and would have to piss off Chun-Li and make her careless, while still maintaining a distance and keeping a strategy going.
Yeah, but here
That is
and
true. She
here's the
would
thing.
actually have to try to get under her skin.
Yeah, but that's why I was
Well, but
also
here's the
thinking
thing
of Street
but
Fight
here's
would
the thing.
work better because she's a bit more aerodynamic, I guess you could say, and she would need
Mhm.
to be able to use objects in her environment um, of different levels and sizes to do her stealth thing, but also to do the thing she does where she basically runs up walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing. If you, getting both of these combatants into a confined space, while it can be of a benefit to Chun Li to a point, it's also going to be somewhat of a hindrance because the thing you have to realize is she needs space to get the elevation she needs for her kicks and what have you, and particularly her spinning bird kick. If she's in a relative, if Black Widow is able to get her into a fairly narrow hallway or into a very confined space, it's going to be a lot harder for Chun Li to execute those kicks and those flips and what have you than with Black Widow and her combat skill set, which is much more grappling, which is much more hand to hand and almost mixed martial arts, but a lethal form of mixed martial arts. And we actually see this in Iron Man 2 when she goes into Hammer's facility and she takes all of those guys down. And you have to realize the majority of those hallways are relatively narrow. Are they like super, super narrow? No, they're not. But I don't know Chun-Li's leg length or anything, but even if she's just doing for a kickboxer, they need room. And essentially that is what Chun-Li is. She is a kickboxer and they need space to get their legs the elevation that they need to put enough force and everything behind their kicks and what have you. Now, their punches, not so much, but the thing is kick attacks are Chun-Li's specialty, not so much hand-to-hand or fist combat. She can do it. She is fairly proficient, but Black Widow is, again, I'm going to have to kind of give the edge to her here because she wasn't just trained in one form of martial arts. She was trained in numerous because that's how extensive her training in the Red Room and with S.H.I.E.L.D. was. So.
True, but also bear in mind that Chun-Li is not limited to kicks. Yes, she can throw punches, but also manipulate ki. So if she's got Black Widow in a confined area, one ki blast is all it takes.
True, and I'm by no means dismissing Chun-Li's. I'm not dismissing Chun-Li's ki ability or anything. Her ability to generate and manipulate ki or anything to that to any extent. But the thing is, Black Widow's agility is going to give her somewhat of an edge in dodging those type of attacks because the thing you have to realize is Black Widow is going up against adversaries that very often use some sort of supernatural or superhuman ability to attack her. And this is something she's going to be prepared for, very much so. So it's not something that's going to be completely foreign.
That Chun-Li is not just about power. She can bounce off. She can leap off walls.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if she can get a height advantage on Black Widow, and just drop those massive legs on her, that's yeah. So in a confined hallway,
would be able to maneuver herself around that, though. I mean, she also has the ability to run up and down walls and slide under people and jump above them and all of that. So, I mean, Black Widow wouldn't be stationary when Chun-Li is doing this.
Right. But I'm just saying that if Chun-Li would have numerous advantages in that kind of setting, Black Widow would need to keep her distance, pick her attacks, wear Chun-Li down.
Mm-hmm.
The minute it gets close quarters, Chun-Li has just so many advantages over Black Widow that Black Widow would be down in in 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
She might be down, but here's the question: you may knock her down, but getting a KO on her is going to be extremely hard, and Chun-Li may have to resort to killing her to do it. And as you've already mentioned, she is she's a little more hesitant as to taking a life, whereas Black Widow, if she feels that the best thing to do is to take out the other adversary, then she's going to do it. She's not going to hesitate to pull the trigger. And here's the other thing, Chad, I agree with you and everything. If Chun-Li can get in close enough, she can take out Black Widow. But the thing is, Black Widow is going to, as I mentioned previously, very quickly ascertain that this is an adversary that does want to get in close to launch an assault. That is primarily Chun-Li's bread and butter, is close in assault, hand-to-hand, very close quarters. Whereas Black Widow, she can operate either in close quarters or she can go long range. I mean, let's put it this way. If they're in some sort of biochemical laboratory or something along those lines, Black Widow's going to figure out a way to use something within that lab to take Chun-Li out, and either one, incapacitate her to the point where she can escape, or where she kills her. Because as I said and everything, Black Widow is not afraid to pull the trigger.
She's not.
Take a life.
But then again, now there's Chun-Li. Orange basically mentioned the fight she had with Vega in the Street Fighter movie. And if you look back at that, Vega caught her by surprise, cut her across the chest, and basically was able to keep the advantage because of the surprise for a while, until Chun-Li closed that distance. Then even on an opponent that was faster, stronger, and taller than her, she managed to just wear him down and eventually beat him through the wall and dropped him 10 feet, even after she was cut open. So she is absolutely willing to kill. And again, if in tight, Chun-Li is not to be underestimated at all. That was Vega's mistake. He wanted to take his time with her, and he thought he'd already weakened her by slitting her across the chest with its claw. And Chun-Li just basically... And Chun-Li surprised him with just how powerful she was and wore him down instead.
Well, she also hit his vanity spot too. Because if you think about it, one thing that can be said about Vega is the guy is vain as hell. You hit his face, you scar up his face, he's gonna lose it. And he didn't just hit her across the chest, he hit her in the back. He was or he was slicing her up.
Yeah.
And wearing her down because she was bleeding so much. But it was only because she saw that she had an advantage that she went and took it with her lightning kicks that put him through the wall. I mean, it was the final jumping up and putting both feet firmly through his face that put him out. But she did well against him, but she still took a lot of licks in that fight.
She absolutely
she can be worn down. Widow, it does take more to wear her down because of her enhancement through the serum. And like I said, it is like Steve Rogers' super soldier serum. It is not an exact duplicate. So she'll have a little bit of a strength boost, not a lot. She's far more she's way more agile than a normal person, and she's got a lot of other attributes enhanced as well, but not to the same degree as Cap. So it's going to be a fairly balanced fight.
Mhm.
It is. It very much is. I mean, I'm by no means trying to take anything away from Chun Li. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to. Although I did pick Black Widow to win this, but and I'm by no means changing my position. But the main thing you have to realize, and Orange, you brought this up. She does have that serum, although it's not as a potent a serum as what was given to Rogers or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That does give her a durability and everything. I don't know if the serum allows her to heal or to recover from injuries quicker, stay on the level of maybe Wolverine or Deadpool or something like that, or maybe even just
Rogers.
Deathstroke.
I don't know if she has a healing factor but if she did, it would be kind of on the it would kind of be on the same level as Rogers, if not a little weaker.
Okay. So you bring that variable into this fight. If Black Widow is able to do a hit and run assault on Chun-Li, wear her down, make her bleed, and make her bleed enough, she's eventually going to wear Chun-Li down to a point where she can just go in and take her out, pick your poison, and take her out any way she sees fit.
Yeah.
So,
and that's how I would imagine that happening. That's exactly how I would see it.
I mean, because Romanoff is an assassin. She knows how to play the long game. She knows that the best way to defeat an opponent is to wear them down, break down their defenses, break their will, essentially, and then go in for the kill. And I'm not saying that Chun-Li is by any means as a easy target and everything to do that to, but Romanoff has got that.
Sorry.
Not only did she go through, it's okay. As I've mentioned, not only did she go through extensive martial arts and espionage training, but she also went through a lot of psychological countermeasures training, not just to withstand interrogation, as you see in the first Avengers movie, and most likely in a lot of the comics or what have you. But she also knows how to break a person's will, break a person's spirit, and eventually use that to her advantage and ultimately take the target out. And I can see that playing a very big part of her strategy and how she takes Chun-Li out, because if she starts to see Chun-Li getting frustrated and aggravated because she hasn't been able to get in close or anything and take her out, and she's getting hurt or anything through whatever traps or devices that Black Widow has set up in the environment where they're at and what have you, she's eventually going to start weighing on Chun-Li's mental state. And if you can defeat a person's mind, you've got him. Yeah. And having worked both for the Russian espionage wing and for S.H.I.E.L.D., she has got that skill set well in hand. She knows how to use it. She knows how to use it effectively, and she can use it in a combat situation, not just necessarily in a interrogation situation, whether she's the one doing the interrogating or she's the one being interrogated. She's going to be able to find Chun-Li's weak spot and essentially shatter her mentally, and then she's got her.
Mm-hmm.
She's got Chun-Li cold.
Now, basically, the way I see this fight going down in one way is Chun-Li is going to get an advantage on Widow. And because of that, she's going to have to adjust, and she'll probably hit Chun-Li with one of her stingers, but it's probably going to be a poison one that's going to start sapping her, basically. It's going to start wearing Chun-Li down. But because we know that Chun-Li can get a second wind, And she has done this in the fight against Vega. She has done this in several ways where she can actually get a second wind. And when she does, she'll go all out. And if Chun-Li or if Widow's not ready for that, that's when she'll be in trouble. So this fight can go either way, truly. And if she's allowed to get a second wind and go full force, Chun-Li will get it, or will take it. But if by dint of luck or skill, Widow is able to dodge the full force attack at first, she'll realize, okay, I got to stop this now, and she'll hit her with a shock stinger and go right up and just snap her neck. We know that she has, or because she will not hesitate to kill, she will put her down, she'll snap her neck, and that's the fight. Because that's how Romanoff handles things if she is pushed to that. Now, truly, this fight can go either way. That's why I'm so on the fence. I mean, Romanoff has advantages. Chun-Li has advantages. Chun-Li is physically stronger than Romanoff. Chun-Li has a lot more power behind her kicks, and she's a kicker. So that does put Romanoff at a disadvantage when it comes to things like judo. But one of the things is, if they are in a tight space, Romanoff has the advantage because of Chun-Li's specific fighting style. Her fighting style is sweeping moves, meaning she needs an open, wide area to effectively use her martial arts style, because she's not linear.
Yep, precisely.
She's more widespread, and she needs more, or she uses the environment around her. Now, if she tried doing a spinning bird kick in a hallway, it's not going to work. You try now lightning kick, sure, and possibly even her small key blast as well. But if she went with spinning bird kick, it would not work well in a confined area. And so she's not going to have access. Oh, we lost Chad. We'll get him back in a second.
That sometimes happens.
Rip Chad, folks.
Yeah, Internet sometimes
Chad
pops out.
Yeah.
Rip Chad.
But, yep. Hashtag Rip Chad in the chat, folks. But anyway, this fight is an interesting fight, and I thank Kamen Rider, big shout out to him, for making this recommendation. It was on my Monday live stream that he made the recommendation. I'm like, okay, this live stream is saved, because, like I said, there wasn't interest in the last topic. So coming up with this one was a godsend. So definitely thank you to Kamen Rider for doing this. So we're going to be wrapping up in 7 minutes, or 6.5 minutes, actually, because we're going to hit around the hour mark, and then we're going to call it a night. So once we get Chad back in here, and sadly we couldn't get Mike from Geek in the Skies, he hasn't gotten back to me or anything. Let me just check while we wait for the Chad.
And GFan84 brings up GFan84 brings up a very valid point and everything. It's not. I'm not saying this just because it supports my position and Jane's position, but he says Black Widow seems more versatile to me as far as fighting style goes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Chun-Li is essentially a very skilled kickboxer, actually. And everything. If you put her in a kickboxing tournament, she'd probably win the whole blasted thing. But as far as maybe a mixed martial arts tournament or something like that, if you put Black Widow and Chun-Li in that thing, I would put my money on Black Widow, just in terms of the fact that she is so versatile as a fighter. She not only does she know judo, but I would wager she knows several different forms of martial arts and everything from her time in the Red Room and with Shield, because both of those organizations, they train their agents and everything, particularly their espionage agents, their operatives, in various forms of hand-to-hand combat, not just one. So that being said, Black Widow is going to have the edge on Chun-Li to that point, because kickboxing is all well and good, but eventually somebody's just going to grab you by the leg, break a knee, and then you're sunk. And that's another scenario that I could see very much happening in this fight is Black Widow catches a leg, catches one of Chun-Li's legs, breaks her knee, or quite literally breaks her leg. There goes not just Chun-Li's mobility, but there goes the biggest chunk of her offense. And we've seen everything that Black Widow has very quick reflexes, so she could essentially catch a kick. She could catch one of Chun-Li's kicks, even if it's just a base kick, or if it's maybe one of her lightning kicks. She might be able to catch a kick that fast. So take out one of Chun-Li's legs, poof, she's done. Take out maybe an arm on Black Widow, but she's still got. Go ahead, Chad.
Here's the thing, though. Even if Black Widow can land a block, considering Chun-Li's power, that's probably going to break her arm. Yeah. And even if she were to catch that kick, again, it's the same question of the power in those thighs. It's just, would she be able to, first of all, break that much muscle? And if not, then
hold on, folks.
Looking at someone that does channel.
Sorry to interrupt this. Jane?
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties now. So.
Yeah, I saw a second Jane in the backstage, and it's like, what's going? Everything okay? But yeah, continue on.
So yeah, like I said, so even if Black Widow does catch the kick, first of all, can she break that much muscle? That's the question. And if not, then Chun-Li can channel ki through those legs, which she does for the lightning kick. And so Black Widow has just basically caught a chi blast along with that much muscle tossing her around. So it would not be to her advantage to try and catch one of Chun-Li's kicks, unless she's absolutely for certain that she can either get a stinger in there or hit a nerve or something to disable her, because just working on power or grappling is not going to work on someone like Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the other thing. Go ahead, Orange. Now.
No. You go ahead.
Okay, but here's the other thing. Black Widow, and I wasn't necessarily holding this back, but here's the other thing. Black Widow doesn't even necessarily have to get in close to disable or break one of Chun-Li's legs. If she's got the right environment, and we're assuming that she's in an environment that she can manipulate to her ends, she could rig some sort of trap or snare or whatever that would disable or incapacitate Chun-Li's one of her legs, if not both of them, possibly. So she wouldn't even necessarily have to do it physically. She could rig some sort of mechanism or anything, or some sort of trap that basically takes out one of Chun-Li's legs, if not both of them. And she doesn't necessarily, if she catches a kick, she doesn't have to go through all that muscle tissue. She can just, it's easy, relatively speaking, if you know how. And obviously, Natasha would know how to break a knee. I mean, you don't have to put a whole lot of, I mean, you have to put a decent amount of pressure, but you don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on somebody's knee and everything to break it. And if Black Widow is able to take out a knee or an ankle or whatever, Chun-Li's toast.
Yeah. G-Fan here has a interesting point. he's a black belt in Taekwondo, and they invited a grappler, mixed martial artist, to their school, and we relied on kicks in our martial arts. He took us to the ground, and it was over for us. And the thing is, Chun-Li her sweeping moves do have more kick-related martial art. It's basically almost to the point crane style.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's basically, she's very leg-oriented. Now, we are at the hour mark, folks, so we are going to start wrapping it up. So, final thoughts. We'll go with Jane first, ladies first. What are your final thoughts on this fight?
Okay, so my final thoughts are, I'm still convinced that Black Widow would ultimately win. And that's mainly because she is so much better able to adapt, I think, to the moves of her opponent. That's her best skill. She's strong, she's fast, she's durable, like we've mentioned before, and she's able to move. I mean, be it a small, tight environment or an open air one. I think she would actually be better in an open air environment. But if you do have them in a cramped space and you're able to limit what Chun-Li can do, limit her moves, I don't really see what would stop Black Widow from ultimately being able to take her out, and if all else fails, just killing her flat out.
Yeah. All right. Ambassador. Final thoughts?
I stand by my initial position. I think Black Widow, if I was going to scale this, I would say 10 fights, Black Widow takes it 8 times out of 10. Where Chun-Li maybe gets the upper hand in two of those contests. So, not taking for granted all of Chun-Li's abilities and what have you, but I'm gonna like as I just said, 8 times out of 10, I think Black Widow takes Chun-Li in the fight. So,
all right, we'll give Chad a moment to get on back, and I'll give my final thoughts while I'm at it. Basically, my final thoughts, the way that I would scale it, to take an example or to take a page from you, I would actually do best 3 out of 5 would go to Widow. And it's because she has a more, or because one of the things that we do not, or that we did underestimate, is Chun-Li, if she also hits Widow with that or with an energy blast or a ki blast, it's gonna hurt Widow. But because it has a small range, it's not, or the ki blast that she uses, it doesn't go very far. It dissipates quickly. Now, Widow, her effectiveness is like up to 25 feet with her stingers. Now, if she gets a stinger, like a poison stinger, into Chun-Li, it's gonna sap her, and she's gonna be able to take it. So yes, 3 out of 5 it goes to Chun-Li, or not Chun-Li, but Widow, and 2 out of 5 it would go to Chun-Li. Now that Chad is back, how about you, or Chad? What are your final thoughts on it? Chad?
ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਦਾ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਨਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਿਰਾਇਆ ਮਾਰਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਮਾਰਿਆ
Sorry, I had a few technical difficulties. Everyone still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, sorry about that. So, where are we?
We're doing final thoughts. Me and Jane and Orange have already given ours. Anything we're just
Okay, sorry about that. So basically, my thoughts are still the same. Black Widow, if she's going to take this, she needs to really employ some strategy because the Stingers don't give her enough of a decisive advantage. Advantage, yes, but it's not going to be decisive. Chun Li's power and speed that she has over Black Widow would be the deciding factor there. And the way Black Widow is going to win this fight, if she is through strategy, tactics, planning. She's got to go Batman on Chun Li. If it's a pitched fight, if they meet very quickly, if Black Widow hasn't had time to plan or prepare, hasn't had time to learn about Chun Li has the advantage. So I got to give it to Chun Li.
fair enough. I mean, we're not here. I don't think any of us are here to say, "Ha ha, my character whip your character's butt, and you're wrong, we're right." Ha ha. No, far from it. This is a This is a friendly debate. This is a friendly versus in terms of our end of things. It's not so friendly in terms of the combatants. So yeah, I can very much see. I can see. Well, as Orange Hat said, and everything 3 times out of 5, and everything, he gives it to Black Widow. Those 2 other 2 times, he very much gives it to Chun Li. So
yeah. Okay, folks, we are going to do or wrap this up. If everybody can give their channels one final quick.
yeah, Jane, you want to go first?
Sure. I am Jane Theory. I have a channel here on YouTube, and I also have a Twitter at Jane Theory. Stop by and check it out. I have movie and television reviews, and occasionally some commentary on the craziness in Hollywood.
Okay. Chad, you want to say anything? Your channel?
Okay, sure. Yep. So once again, I'm most active on SMeal right now. You can find me on there under the Spoony Bard. And so you can also find me under my YouTube channel, The Chat is Great, which has been inactive for about a month. But I just recently got some inspiration, so I'm going to be doing some uploading there in the next week or so.
Excellent. And we lost Orange again.
All right.
I guess his landlady is making phone calls and stuff. So, folks, most of you know me and everything. You follow me on Twitter at Ambassador Kosh #7. I am on Instagram. I have started an account there. You can find me just under the Ambassador. Just if you look for the night, you've got it right. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to sound as cheesy as I thought it would be in my. And as far as my channel goes, I cover much of the 80s and 90s and the modern era. And tomorrow night on my channel, we'll be having my ambassadorial wing stream, and we're going to be talking the music landscape of the 1980s, and we're going to have some karaoke tomorrow night. So that'll be at 7:30 time.
Oh, cool!
And next week I'll be resuming my afternoons with the Ambassador stream with my good friend the Vega Outlaw. We'll be reviewing Babylon 5 Season 1. We're continuing that. And then next Wednesday night, also at 7:30, most of my streams in the evening start at 7:30. I will be reviewing the 1980s classic by John Boorman, Excalibur. So be sure to tune in for that as well. And then next Saturday, May 2nd, going to be having a DCEU stream on the Ambassador Wing. We're going to be talking about Shazam, Aquaman, and the Joker. So hope to see y'all there for that as well. I am on the road to 300. I'm almost at 260 subscribers. So make sure you check out those links that Soul Assassin has included in the chat. Make sure you check out Jane. Make sure you check out Chad. And, of course, check out our most gracious host, Orange Hat Reviews. So, and I want to thank him for having us all on this evening. This has been a lot of fun. This has been a good debate. This has been a good topic. I look forward to the next one.
All right. Did everybody give themselves a plug?
We did.
Yes, we did.
Sorry for the internet issues, folks. Okay, so, folks,
That's all right.
we are going to wrap it up here. Stay tuned in another 2 weeks for the Mandalorian army from the EU Legends, taking on a xenomorph army of multiple different species of xenomorphs. And with that, folks, we are going to call it a night. This has been Orange Hat Reviews. Stay humble.